At 68 years old, I was tired. Tired of waking up feeling heavy. Tired of my belly getting away when I tried to tie my shoes. And tired of seeing my blood sugar numbers go up no matter how hard I tried to eat healthy. Every morning felt like I was stepping into another round of fight I was losing, with sugar spikes making me sleepy after breakfast and cravings knocking at my door by 10 a.m. I would look in the mirror and see a man who wanted to be strong for his grandkids, but felt like his body was slowing down more each day. And honestly, it scared me. I was tired pretending I felt fine when I didn't. And I knew if I didn't make a change now, I might not get the chance later. So I made a decision that felt scary but simple. I quit carbs for a month to see if I could fix my insulin resistance on my own. I didn't do it with fancy plans or expensive products. I did it right here in my small kitchen, with foods I could get at the local store, cooking for myself because I want to take back control. And today, I'm going to share the 7 foods that helped me change my health and surprised even my doctor with how much they helped me feel stable, lighter, and clearer in my mind. If you've been feeling tired, heavy, or out of control with your sugar, stick with me, because it's not too late for you either. If you find this story helpful, hit the like button so more people over 60 who are tired of blood sugar swings can find this video and start their own journey. Number 1, eggs for breakfast every day. When I decided to quit carbs for a month, breakfast was the scariest part for me. For years, I believed cereal, toast, and oatmeal were the healthy way to start my day, but every morning felt the same. I would eat, feel okay for a moment, and then an hour later, I'd get sleepy, shaky, and hungry again. It was like my energy was tied to a roller coaster I couldn't get off, and honestly, it made me feel like I was failing at taking care of myself. One morning, I looked at the eggs in my fridge and thought, what if I just try it today? What do I have to lose? So I cracked 2 eggs into a pan with butter and promised myself I would keep it simple and see how I felt. After that first breakfast of eggs, I noticed something I hadn't felt in years. I was full, but in a steady, calm way. I didn't feel the panic of needing to grab a muffin or snack just to keep going. I could sit by the window with my coffee, read my newspaper, and enjoy the quiet of the morning without battling cravings. I realized that for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel like I was fighting my own body right after breakfast. It felt like my body was finally steady, and it gave me a small taste of hope that maybe I wasn't as broken as I thought. It was a quiet morning, and for once, I felt present in it. A few days later, I started adding a sprinkle of salt and a bit of avocado on the side with my eggs, and it felt like I was treating myself, not punishing myself. I didn't miss the bread as much as I thought I would because the eggs were warm, comforting, and satisfying in a way cereal never was. I began to notice that my energy in the mornings was more stable, and I even found myself getting up to stretch or walk around the block without forcing myself. It was a small victory, but when you're 68 and tired of feeling tired, small victories feel like big wins. Those quiet, steady mornings started to become my new normal. Eggs also helped me stop depending on sugary health bars or quick carb snacks that I thought were helping me. I used to think I needed those to keep going, but with eggs, I realized I didn't. It made breakfast simple, cheap, and easy to prepare, and it made me feel like I was taking control of my mornings in a way that felt good and doable. I didn't need a fancy diet or expensive products. I just needed real food that kept me full and steady. That's what eggs did for me every morning during my month without carbs. And I felt thankful for something so small that made a real difference. If your mornings leave you feeling sleepy, heavy, or craving sugar within an hour, maybe try what I did. Swap your cereal or toast for eggs for a few mornings and see how you feel. I'm not a doctor, just a grandpa who was tired of feeling tired. And this small change helped me feel clearer, calmer, and ready to face the day without that sugar crash that used to control me. It might seem like a small step, but sometimes small steps are the start of something much bigger. You deserve mornings that feel calm, steady, and full of quiet energy you can trust. Number 2, avocado as a snack. For as long as I can remember, I was always looking for something to snack on between meals. Even when I thought I had a healthy breakfast, by mid-morning or mid-afternoon, I would get that familiar gnawing in my belly that made me open the pantry, searching for crackers or cookies to get me through. When I decided to quit carbs for a month, I knew I had to find something that would keep me satisfied without sending my sugar up and down all day. That's when I remembered how much I loved avocado, and I decided to try having half an avocado with a little salt and olive oil whenever I felt hungry between meals. The first time I tried it, I was surprised by how creamy and rich it tasted, and it felt like a real treat instead of a boring diet snack. It didn't make me feel heavy, and I didn't get that sleepy feeling I often got after grabbing a handful of crackers. It was simple to prepare, and it didn't require any cooking, which made it easy for me when I felt hungry, but didn't want to mess up my kitchen again. I just sliced it open, added a pinch of salt, a drizzle of olive oil, and sometimes a squeeze of lemon, and I would sit down and enjoy it slowly, reminding myself that I was taking care of my body, not punishing it. Over the days, I started to notice that having avocado as a snack kept me full for hours. I didn't feel that constant urge to open the fridge or pantry to graze, and I realized how much time and energy I used to waste thinking about my next snack. Instead of riding the wave of sugar highs and crashes, I felt steady, like my body was finally calming down and finding a rhythm that worked for me. It gave me freedom during the day, and I could focus on small projects around the house, my walks, and even spending time with my grandkids without feeling drained. Another thing I loved was that avocado didn't trigger cravings for sweets the way other snacks did. Before, when I would have a piece of fruit or a granola bar, I would find myself craving more sugar soon after. But with avocado, the healthy fat and creamy texture made me feel satisfied in a way I hadn't felt in years. It felt like I was giving my body something it needed instead of feeding a craving that only left me hungrier later. This was a big shift for me, and it helped me see that not all snacks are the same when you're trying to keep your sugar steady. If you're like I was, always searching for something to snack on to get through the day, maybe try adding half an avocado with a bit of salt and olive oil as your snack. I'm not a doctor, just a grandpa who was tired of feeling controlled by sugar cravings, and this small change helped me feel full, calm, and steady while quitting carbs for a month. Sometimes the simplest foods can become the biggest helpers in your day, and you might find yourself surprised by how much calmer your body feels when you get the right kind of fuel. Number 3, fatty meats without fear. Before I decided to quit carbs for a month, I was always afraid of eating fatty meats. For years, I believed that eating chicken thighs or ground beef would hurt my health, so I stuck to dried chicken breast and turkey slices that never kept me full. The problem was, even with those healthy meals, I felt hungry soon after. It was only a matter of time before I reached for bread or a sweet snack to feel satisfied. I remember standing at the butcher one day, looking at those juicy cuts with a bit of fat, and thinking, what if I've been afraid of the wrong thing all this time? That's when I decided to try eating fatty meats to see if they would help me feel steady while quitting carbs. The first time I cooked chicken thighs with the skin on, seasoned with a bit of salt and garlic, I was shocked at how satisfying it was. I didn't need to add rice or bread to feel like I had a real meal. I sat down, took my time eating, and noticed I felt comfortably full without the heavy, bloated feeling I often got after carb-heavy lunches. I didn't get that sugar crash that made me want to nap on the couch, and I could actually stay active in the afternoon without forcing myself. It was the first time in years that lunch didn't leave me feeling drained, and it felt like I was finally giving my body something it needed. As I continued to add fatty meats like ground beef and even a small steak now and then, I noticed my cravings for sweets and bread started to fade. I wasn't constantly thinking about my next meal because the fats and protein kept me satisfied for hours. I could spend my afternoons working the garden, taking a walk, or play with my grandkids without the nagging hunger that used to distract me. It felt like a freedom I hadn't experienced in a long time, and it gave me hope that I could keep going with this new way of eating without feeling deprived. Another thing I realized was that fatty meats were not expensive or complicated to prepare. I could buy ground beef, chicken thighs, or a small roast and cook them with simple seasonings, and they became the foundation of my meals. It was comforting to know that I didn't need to spend extra money on special products or complicated recipes to feel satisfied and stay on track. I started to look forward to lunch and dinner, knowing they would keep me steady, and that I was feeding my body in a way that worked for me while quitting carbs. If you've been afraid of fatty meats like I was, thinking they're bad for you, maybe try adding them back to your meals, especially if you're cutting out carbs. I'm not a doctor, just a grandpa who was tired of feeling hungry and tired all the time, and eating fatty meats helped me feel full and steady during my month without carbs. Sometimes, the foods we fear the most are the ones that help us the most when we give them a chance. And you might find yourself feeling stronger, calmer, and more satisfied in your day. Number 4, low-starch vegetables. When I started cutting out carbs, I was worried my meals would feel empty without rice, bread, or potatoes on the plate. For most of my life, a meal didn't feel complete unless it had a big serving of those. I thought I would be hungry all the time or feel like I was missing something. But I decided to try adding more low-starch vegetables like spinach, broccoli, and cauliflower to my lunches and dinners to see if they could help fill the gap. At first, I was skeptical, but I was willing to try anything to stop the sugar crashes and constant hunger I was battling every day. The first meal I made was a simple plate of sautéed spinach with garlic and a splash of olive oil next to my chicken thighs. I was surprised at how satisfying it felt to have something warm, flavorful, and colorful on my plate. Even without the bread or rice I was used to, the spinach added a comforting texture, and I didn't feel heavy or bloated afterward like I often did with starchy sides. It felt like I was finally feeding my body in a way that didn't leave me tired after meals, and that alone made me want to keep going with these vegetables. As I added broccoli and cauliflower, roasted with olive oil and a sprinkle of salt, I started to enjoy my meals even more. These vegetables gave me something to chew and enjoy without sending my blood sugar on a roller coaster. I could eat a full plate and feel satisfied without that sleepy feeling that often hit me after lunch. It felt good to finish a meal and still have the energy to take a walk or do chores around the house. It was like my meals were finally working for me, not against me, and that was a powerful feeling. What I loved most was how easy these vegetables were to prepare. A quick wash, a chop, a bit of olive oil, and into the oven or pan they went. They didn't require much effort, and they were affordable, which made it easy for me to stick to this way of eating without stress. I started to look forward to seeing the green and vibrant colors on my plate, knowing they were helping me stay steady while adding flavor to my meals. I didn't feel like I was on a diet. I felt like I was learning to feed myself better. If you're cutting out carbs and worried about feeling hungry or missing your usual sides, try adding low-starch vegetables like spinach, broccoli, and cauliflower to your meals. I'm not a doctor, just a grandpa who was tired of sugar crashes and feeling heavy, and these vegetables helped me feel full and steady without making me sleepy. They became a comforting, simple part of my day, and you might find that these small changes help you feel more satisfied and lighter as you take control of your meals. Number 5, aged and full-fat cheeses. One of the biggest struggles I had when I decided to quit carbs was dealing with my sweet tooth and the constant desire to snack on something fun during the day. I would often find myself standing in the kitchen, looking for cookies or sweet granola bars to give me that comfort I was used to. When I decided to try adding aged and full-fat cheeses to my daily routine, I wasn't sure it would help, but I was willing to try if it meant I could stop feeling out of control with cravings. I started with small pieces of cheddar or Gouda, treating them like a small snack instead of reaching for something sugary. What surprised me was how satisfying a few bites of cheese could be. The rich, creamy texture made it feel like a treat, and it didn't leave me wanting more sugar afterward like cookies or sweet snacks did. I would slice a piece and enjoy it slowly, sometimes with a few slices of cucumber on the side, and it felt like I was giving myself something special without guilt. It was comforting to have something easy to grab when I felt like I needed a snack, and it helped me feel in control instead of giving in to sugar cravings that left me tired and frustrated. As I continued adding cheese to my days, I noticed I didn't need to snack as often because the fat and protein in the cheese kept me feeling satisfied for longer. I didn't have that constant chatter in my mind asking, "What's next?" or "What else can I eat?" that used to follow me around the house. It was like my cravings calmed down, and I could go about my day focusing on what I needed to do, whether it was tidying up, reading, or taking a walk, without the distraction of hunger and sugar lows pulling me back to the kitchen every hour. Another thing I appreciated was how practical cheese was to keep on hand. I could buy a block, cut small pieces, and store them in the fridge for easy access when I needed a quick snack. It didn't require cooking or a mess, and it was something I could enjoy whether I was sitting down for a quiet moment or grabbing a quick bite before heading out for a walk. Cheese became one of those small helpers in my journey to quit carbs without feeling deprived or stressed about what to eat, and that made a big difference in staying consistent. If you're trying to cut back on carbs and find yourself craving something comforting, maybe try adding small portions of aged and full-fat cheeses as a snack. I'm not a doctor, just a grandpa who was tired of fighting sugar cravings, and cheese helped me feel satisfied without adding to the blood sugar roller coaster I was trying to escape. You deserve to have snacks that feel enjoyable and keep you steady, and you might find, like I did, that cheese becomes a simple ally on your path to feeling better each day. Number 6, butter and olive oil with every meal. When I first started cutting out carbs, I was afraid I would feel hungry all the time, especially since I was used to bread, rice, and pasta filling up my plate. I remember thinking, how am I going to stay full without these foods? That fear was real, and it almost stopped me from even trying. But then I decided to add butter and olive oil to my meals to help me feel satisfied and to give my body something steady to use as fuel. It felt strange at first because I grew up hearing that fats were something to avoid, but I was tired of being tired, and I wanted to see if this small change could help. The first time I added a generous bit of butter to my scrambled eggs, I noticed how creamy and filling they became, and I didn't feel hungry an hour later like I used to with my old breakfasts. It was a warm comfort in the morning, and it made me feel like I was giving myself something that my body truly needed. At lunch and dinner, I started drizzling olive oil over my vegetables and meats, adding flavor while helping me feel satisfied without the need for bread on the side. These small changes made meals feel complete even without the carbs I had relied on for so long. As the days went by, I realized that butter and olive oil were not only making my meals taste better, but were also helping me stay full for longer. I didn't get the same cravings between meals that used to push me toward cookies or snacks in the afternoon. It felt like my body was calmer, not sending out panic signals for more sugar, and that calmness helped me focus on my day without feeling like I was battling hunger all the time. I could take my walks, read, and spend time with my family without constantly thinking about food. One thing I appreciated was how simple it was to add butter and olive oil to my meals without making things complicated. It didn't require a recipe, expensive products, or extra time in the kitchen. A small pat of butter on my vegetables or a drizzle of olive oil on my salad turned a simple meal into something satisfying and comforting. It helped me feel like I was taking care of myself without overthinking, and that made sticking to my plan of cutting out carbs much easier during that month. If you're worried about feeling hungry when you cut carbs, maybe try adding butter and olive oil to your meals to help you stay satisfied. I'm not a doctor, just a grandpa who was tired of feeling like food was controlling me, and these healthy fats helped me feel full and steady as I made changes to my diet. Sometimes it's the simple things we add that make the biggest difference, and you deserve meals that leave you feeling calm, steady, and ready to enjoy your day without hunger getting in your way. Number 7. Black coffee without sugar. One of the hardest habits for me to change when I decided to quit carbs was my morning coffee routine. For years, I enjoyed my coffee with sugar and a splash of milk, believing it was a small comfort that wouldn't hurt. But looking back, those spoons of sugar added up quickly, and they were part of the reason I kept riding the blood sugar roller coaster every morning. I was worried that switching to black coffee would feel like punishment, that it would take away one of the small joys I had each day, but I decided to try for a week to see how I felt. The first few days were challenging. I missed the sweetness, and I missed the creamy taste I was used to, but I reminded myself that I would try to take back control over my health. Each morning, I would sit by the window with my black coffee and take slow sips, focusing on the warmth and the quiet moment it brought me. As I kept going, I started to notice the natural flavors in the coffee that I never paid attention to before because the sugar used to cover them up. It became a new way to enjoy my mornings without the sugar spike and crash that left me tired before the day even started. As the days turned into weeks, I realized that drinking black coffee helped me feel steadier in the mornings. I didn't get that sudden rush of energy followed by a heavy slump an hour later. My mind felt clearer, and I could start my day with small tasks around the house without feeling drained. I also noticed that I wasn't craving something sweet right after my coffee, which used to be a daily battle for me. It felt like a small but powerful change that supported the other steps I was taking to keep my sugar steady while quitting carbs. One thing I learned was that I didn't need to give up coffee to support my health goals. I just needed to change how I was drinking it. Black coffee became a tool, not a trigger for cravings, and it allowed me to keep a comforting part of my morning routine while aligning it with my new path. It was simple, affordable, and easy to prepare, and it gave me a sense of calm knowing I was making a choice that supported my body each day. This small change helped me feel stronger and more in control of my mornings. If you're trying to cut carbs and feel nervous about letting go of the sugar in your coffee, maybe try what I did and give black coffee a chance for a few days. I'm not a doctor, just a grandpa who was tired of feeling like sugar was running my mornings, and this change helped me feel clearer, calmer, and ready to start the day on my own terms. It might feel hard at first, but you might find, like I did, that your mornings become a peaceful, steady part of your day without sugar holding you back. After 30 days of quitting carbs and adding these simple, steady foods to my days, something changed in me. I didn't just see the numbers on my glucose monitor improve, but I felt lighter in my body and calmer in my mind. I woke up with more energy, and I didn't dread mornings anymore, because I wasn't afraid of the sugar crashes that used to knock me down before lunch. It was like I had found a quiet strength inside myself, proving that even at 68, I could make a change that mattered for my health and for the moments I wanted to live fully with my grandkids and family. One of the biggest surprises was how these small changes added up. Swapping cereal for eggs, grabbing avocado instead of crackers, enjoying fatty meats without guilt, adding vegetables with butter and olive oil, and switching to black coffee helped me build days that felt steady instead of chaotic. I didn't need fancy supplements or complicated plans. I just needed to trust that my body could respond to these simple foods and give it a chance to heal from the constant sugar swings. This journey wasn't about perfection. It was about progress and taking back a sense of control that I thought was lost with age. There were moments when it felt hard, especially in the first week, when old cravings tried to pull me back. But each day, as I stuck with these foods, I noticed how the cravings faded, and I felt stronger with every small choice I made. It was a quick fix, but it was a real change, and seeing my doctor's face when he looked at my improved glucose numbers was priceless. He was surprised, and honestly, so was I, but it showed me that it's never too late to give your body the care it deserves. It reminded me that small steps can lead to big victories. If you've been feeling tired, heavy, or out of control with sugar, I want you to know it's not too late for you, either. You don't have to accept feeling drained every day or believe that age means giving up on your health. These simple foods help me take one small step at a time, and maybe they can help you too. You deserve days filled with calm energy and moments you can truly enjoy, whether it's taking a walk, play with your grandkids, or simply sitting with your coffee in peace, knowing your body is working with you, not against you. Before you make changes to your diet or add new foods, please remember to talk with your doctor or a health professional, especially if you have health conditions or take medications. I'm not a doctor, just a grandpa who wanted to share what worked for me in the hope that it might give you the courage to take your own first step. You deserve to feel better, and it's never too late to start. If this story inspired you, hit the like button and subscribe so we can keep walking this journey together, one steady day at a time.